We're back for MLB Best Bets here on the channel for Monday, June 23rd. We've got about half the teams today playing in Major League Baseball, and we're going to give you our 5 best bets for this slate. Before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel. That, of course, is continuing daily here on the channel. Now with the NBA over, obviously, this is going to be the only thing going on the channel, again, daily. Real quickly, I'm going to talk about Game 7 of the NBA Finals just because I'm not going to make another NBA predictions video. If you want to skip ahead to the first best bet, I'd say go like 90 seconds ahead. I just got to get some things off my chest real quick. Oh, man. I mean, I don't know. It legitimately, I think the most infuriating part of that game is the injury, obviously. But I think the number one thing is obviously that Tyrese Halliburton's not going to play next season. I firmly believe if Halliburton doesn't get injured, Indiana wins that game. Guys, Tyrese sunk 3 threes in the first 7 minutes of that game from, 8 feet behind the three-point line. They were deep pocket threes that Halliburton was hitting. It just felt like that was going to be a 30-plus point night out of Tyrese. The Pacers had the lead going into halftime. And, obviously OKC pulled away. They're too good, obviously. They're too good for you to be without Tyrese Halliburton. But I mean, it's just, it sucks, man. It really does. I don't know. There's not many injuries that I've ever watched I think have been worse than that. For me personally, just as a fan watching professional sports, the only one I can think of is Victor Oladipo's injury back in 2019. That one killed me, but man, I'd argue this one's probably worse. It was Game 7 in the NBA Finals. It's probably one of the biggest injuries in NBA history just because that was a Game 7. And it's the guy who had the best run in NBA playoff history. It's brutal. Shout out to the Thunder. That's a great team. The thing is, for them, how many will they win? They're going to win multiple. They're going to win a lot. So, just had to say that. Again, NBA season was great, I guess. We'll see you in October for more of that. Anyways, our UFC 317 predictions were posted yesterday on Greedo Plays MMA. Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira in the main event for the Lightweight Championship. Go make sure to check out that video, link in the description down below. Go subscribe to Greedo Plays MMA as well. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets today with the MLB, kicking things off with our best player prop of the day. Yeah, it's an unction today with our best player prop. Give me Paul Goldschmidt. Okay, and here's why, guys. Goldschmidt's really due. Okay? Goldschmidt, he's not been hitting the best right now. Okay? Out of his last 6 games, Goldschmidt's gone over this once. I know what you're thinking. Oh, why are we taking this? There's a reason Nick Lodolo is going for the Cincinnati Reds. Lodolo's been all right this season, but he's going to give up loud outs. He's going to give up hard contact. And Paul Goldschmidt feasts against left-handed pitching. It's just a spot I like a lot. There's not really a past, breakdown of Nick Lodolo. There's not an extensive Nick Lodolo versus Paul Goldschmidt history. But, again, I like the spot. Goldschmidt batting, I believe, 298 this season. Yeah, 298. That average has gotten down mightily, obviously, over the last couple weeks. The slight career matchup is actually 4 for 8. So actually, I wouldn't say it's the most extensive, but there is backing to this. Goldschmidt, again, in 8 at-bats, has 4 hits and 2 home runs against Nick Lodolo. Obviously, Goldschmidt, a former St. Louis Cardinal. Lodolo, obviously, still for the Reds, playing for the Reds. So, former National League Central matchup that Paul Goldschmidt has excelled in. But again, matchup-wise, I love Goldschmidt against the lefty. Obviously, a guy batting in the middle of this New York lineup that I think is getting going again. I think winning the final 2 games in the Bronx against the Baltimore Orioles. But again, we can expect Paul Goldschmidt at the top of the lineup. Did not play yesterday. I believe had a pinch hitting spot for the Yankees, but was not in the starting lineup. Just a day off for him. I expect Goldschmidt in the 2 spot or in the 1 for today. I think we'll be fine here. I think Goldschmidt, again, this is a guy at his best. At one point in the season was batting in the high 350s. He has cooled down mightily in the month of June, only batting 169 in the month. But again, if there's a game where Goldschmidt is going to pick it back up and going to get things going, it's going to have to be this one, I firmly believe, against a guy that he has dominated in the past. Again, only 8 at-bats, but still a guy that he's batting 500 against in 8 career at-bats, and against a left-handed pitcher. Right, Goldschmidt batting 298, which is still the 19th best average in all of baseball. And again, this is a guy who's been batting 160 throughout the entire month. Only 8 home runs, so really, again, Lodolo has given up 2 home runs to Goldschmidt in the past. I don't think that's the easiest pathway for us, obviously, today, but I think it's a possibility. I think definitely, though, Goldschmidt plugging a gap with a double, 2 base knocks, that's likely the most ideal way for us to win this game. And I expect a lot of runs scored today. I really do. I mean, the Yankees are throwing Alan Winnis, the 29-year-old starter out of Bakersfield, California. I'd expect a lot of runs there. Lodolo, I get it. The Yankees are away from Yankee Stadium and they're away from their short porch and right field and they're all around Mickey Mouse outfield. I get that. But still, we know what the Yankees can do. They are going to mash the baseball. Lodolo, don't get me wrong, he's been decent this season. He's just been really off and on, and I don't like the matchup for him. He's a lefty. Goldschmidt, again, crushes left-handed pitching, and career-wise, he's done fairly well against Lodolo as well. So I'm going to go with the UNK, the 37-year-old Paul Goldschmidt to come through today for us at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Over 1.5 total bases. Hell, we had a red yesterday in our over total bases prop. That was Ellie De La Cruz. Got that done with the double. I need Paul Goldschmidt to get us a double today, or 2 base knocks, or an extra base hit as well. We'll take either or any of them. Give me Paul Goldschmidt again on the over 1.5 total bases to kick off the day. Second best bet of the video. We move now to our Nerfy of the day. Okay, guys, Nerfies have been so rough for us recently. Okay, we've been rough on quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie, okay? Where we need to start building some momentum. It's a new week, okay? We're putting the crappy start to June. We're already on June 23rd. Maybe we just need to, bury the month of June. We just need to get to July. Now, we gotta close the month strong before we get going again, really going in the month of July. Anyways, Nerfy yesterday didn't hit, because of course it didn't. I feel like every time, by the way, we don't hit a Nerfy, it's with 2 outs. It's just, oh man. Red Sox score in the first inning off of Robbie Ray. Great. Today's Nerfy is going to be in Chicago, Illinois. Out of everything I saw today, this is the best one. And I know what you're thinking. Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He is. Eduardo's not the automatic fade candidate that he was to start the season, though. Don't get me wrong. Because that's exactly what he was. And we detailed this a lot in Rodriguez's last start in Toronto against the Blue Jays. And now we had Blue Jays money line in that game, and we ultimately hit with the Blue Jays, right? But that wasn't because of Rodriguez. Eduardo on that start goes 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. Only one of those were earned. That's not a bad outing. Against the Mariners, start before that, 6 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, and then his first start of the month of June in Cincinnati, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. So again, as a whole, Eduardo Rodriguez's ERA is 2.81 in the month of June. Comparing that to what he had in the month of May of 9.75, and in April in which he had a 6.26 ERA, yes, Rodriguez has been much improved for the Snakes. There's an upside there that he's been positive, he's been better, and also the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, the Chicago White Sox bats. I don't feel confident for them at all to score. Let's just be honest. This is a team that did just win their last series in Toronto against the Blue Jays, which is very surprising. But I look at the top of the lineup, and still, who scares you? Meridroth? Meridroth. It's not Meredith. It's Meridroth. Meridroth. The shortstop, obviously, for Chicago. Benintendi, Vargas, Teal, Luis Robert. We're going to get some, righty matchups, lefty-righty matchups, obviously with Rodriguez being a southpaw. But the White Sox really don't scare me as a first-inning scoring threat. Hell, if yesterday's any indicator, they couldn't get the scoring going until the 4th inning, where they scored 1 run. On the flip side, Shane Smith is pitching for them today. Shane Smith has been phenomenal for this baseball team. His last start was nothing close to phenomenal. But if you take away that start he had against the St. Louis Cardinals, his ERA is 2.37 on the season. His last start last Tuesday, I completely understand, was horrible. It just was. Shane Smith against the St. Louis Cardinals goes 4 1/3 innings, gives up 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks. That's just not going to cut it for a guy who, let's just be honest, is the ace of the pitching staff. He just is. But you disregard that start. Look at his other 2 starts so far in the month of June. His first start in June against the Detroit Tigers on the 3rd, 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs. Next start in Houston against the Astros, 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. Right? Shane Smith has been really good this year. And again, we can make one exception. It's that start against the St. Louis Cardinals. We look at what he's going to see at the top of the lineup. Obviously, this is a challenge. I completely understand. Diamondbacks, though, coming off a series in Colorado where they win 2 of 3. The Snakes only 1 game over 500. But they go to Colorado, obviously. They win that series. Scoring wasn't really where you would expect it to be for the Arizona Diamondbacks, if we're being honest. but we can expect the normal suspects at the top of the lineup. Yesterday, we saw no Ketel Marte in the lineup. He was just getting a day off. He ended up pinch hitting. Corbin Carroll's out with a hand injury, had an MRI on his left hand. I don't think he's out for a while. I don't even think he's going to be on the IL. I wouldn't expect him back, though, for today. Maybe he will, but I don't think he's that close to returning, like at least immediately. Maybe we'll see him at the tail end of this White Sox series. So you take away Corbin Carroll. Again, Ketel Marte didn't start yesterday, but we can expect Marte to be in the lineup. Perdomo, Marte, Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez. Don't get me wrong. The power's through the charts. We know that obviously there's going to be guys, right? I mean, Smith, Suarez, Naylor, I get that. Those guys are going to, Gritchick, those guys are going to swing out their ass. They're going to try to put the ball at the park at here at Comiskey in Chicago. I get that. But Shane Smith's been really good this year. And I'm so serious. Corbin Carroll's, the lack of the Corbin Carroll presence in the lineup, it's really big, man. Because Carroll, he's your leadoff hitter. He puts one in the gap. And I mean, this is a guy who has hit for, multiple triples this season. He's such a tough guy to put away. You take that out the lineup. Don't get me wrong. They're still good with Perdomo, with Marte, Smith, Naylor, Suarez. But it makes them a little less dangerous. I'm just going to be honest. And for as good as Shane Smith's been this season, I think I can rely on him. Again, 2.85 ERA. But again, going into that St. Louis start, it was a 2.37 ERA. I can expect, I think we can all expect a bounce-back start for Shane Smith this time around, a guy who is likely on his way to being a first-time All-Star this season. I mean, who else are you putting in the All-Star game for the White Sox? Right? Likely a first-time All-Star this season. Had a bad start in his last one. I completely get that against the Cardinals. I think he'll be fine. And I think Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be perfectly fine as well. This is a guy who's sporting a 2.81 ERA in the month of June, and he gets to face the Chicago White Sox batting lineup. Batting order. I think we're okay here. Give me the NRFI in the South Side in Chicago between Eduardo Rodriguez and Shane Smith at 440. Another game starting at 440 today. It's our first money line of the day. Let's go to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the Minnesota Twins and the Seattle Mariners. So I believe we're 2-12 on Mariners money line picks this year? Something like that. I'm losing track. That's not strictly just picking the Mariners. That's just picking games in which the Mariners are involved in. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay today with Mariners money line on the road. I think they go to Chicago and win 2 of 3. And they just don't go to Chicago and win in, old Mariners fashion where, they just win pitchers duels. They get out of it 2-1. No. They went into Chicago and they put up runs and they clobbered the Chicago Cubs. I know they only won 2 of 3, which again, a series win's a series win. But that first game, a 9-4 victory over Chicago, Cal Raleigh homers twice. On Saturday, a 10-7 victory for the Chicago Cubs. And then yesterday, Cal Raleigh does it again, a 14-6 victory for the Mariners. So the Seahawks go out there and beat the Bears by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Raleigh in that game, another home run. The guy is batting .276 with 31 home runs and 66 RBI. Best catcher in the sport. And it's really not that close. It's really not. I'm so serious. Who's the second best catcher in the game of baseball? Legitimately, I couldn't tell you. Because there's such a huge gap between what Cal Raleigh does and the rest of the league at the catcher position. I mean, Adley Rutschman's having an off year. Well, it's Will Smith. It's actually Will Smith. It's not even close. But past Cal Raleigh and Will Smith, who's third? I don't know, right? Will Smith's actually having a monster year. It's actually crazy what that guy's doing too. Anyways, today again we're taking the Mariners. Because why? Guys, if the Mariners continue to hit like this, and obviously that starts with Cal Raleigh, and it kind of ends with Cal Raleigh too. Like if Raleigh's not on and Raleigh isn't giving them this daily production, the lineup still isn't that great, and I'll break it down in a second. But it's always a matter of, okay, they need someone else to contribute, right? Because Cal Raleigh, this is going to sound weird. He's kind of taken the J-Rod role. I know, again, Rodriguez was never putting up these numbers, but when Julio was at his best, and Julio's been very up and down, he's been very shaky, but when Julio's at his best, he is that reliable bat in the middle of the lineup. They have not had that in the last, year and a half, because Julio has been just so mid. If you get that steady production out of Cal Raleigh, then you just need someone else to get going. That's been J.P. Crawford as of late. Crawford's got the average up to 291. He's been incredible for this baseball team. Jorge Polanco's really struggling. J-Rod, I'll say it, is still struggling, especially for a guy who's getting paid that much money and expected to be that good of a baseball player. Randy Arozarena, obviously they give a bunch of money to. I say it all the time with Randy. He closes his eyes sometimes. He'll swing as hard as he possibly can. He will either blast the ball 115 miles an hour, or he's just not going to hit it at all. It's kind of just how Randy Arozarena plays. Just going to be honest. But they scored 14 runs yesterday, right? Get the scoring started early in the first inning. How? Because another Cal Raleigh home run. 2-run shot, and who happened to be on base? J.P. Crawford. Pitching today for the Mariners is Brian Wu, which I like a lot. Wu did struggle quite a bit, I think, I would say early in June. He's bounced back in a big way in his last start against the Boston Red Sox. He goes 7 innings of one-hit baseball, no runs given up. ERA now down to 3.12. Yes, the righty out of Oakland has been very good. And the Minnesota Twins, guys, they're starting Bailey Ober, the 6'9" pitcher, obviously out of Huntsville, North Carolina. He struggled. The Twins have not won a Bailey Ober start since May 19th. They've dropped 5 consecutive games in which this guy's been on the mound for. 3 games pitched so far in the month of June. ERA's 8.31. Gave up 4 runs against the Reds, 7 against the Rangers, and 5 against the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Minnesota Twins just aren't winning baseball games right now. They're just not. In their last, 10 games, they've lost about 9, give or take. Their only victory was when we had Cincinnati Reds money line. Oh my. But this is a team that struggled a lot in their last series at home in Minnesota against the Brewers. They let the Brewers walk in there and dominate them. Guys, Milwaukee put up 17 points. Too used to basketball. Put up 17 runs on the Brewers. The Brewers put 17 runs up on the Twins on Friday. 9-0 victory on Saturday. Close one yesterday, but a 9-8 victory for Milwaukee. I can't trust the Twins to win anything right now. Really can't. And the way the Mariners are playing, the way that they're hitting the ball, Brian Wu coming off his last start, I mean, why wouldn't I take the Seattle Mariners here? Minus 125. I think this line's going to move a little bit, I would think, towards the Mariners, but maybe not. Maybe not, honestly, because, they are on the road. Travel day yesterday. I'm perfectly fine with this, though. Again, Cal Raleigh is playing like the best catcher in baseball because he is the best catcher in baseball. I would argue that he should give Judge somewhat of a run for his money for most valuable player. Again, Judge is batting like 80 average points higher than him, actually probably more, like 90. So obviously that's kind of a foregone conclusion real quickly. Ooh, okay, Raleigh's got down to plus 600 now in the MVP race. I mean, Judge is still minus 2,400, and he will likely win that thing. But I thought that was interesting. How is Pete Crow Armstrong plus 700, but James Woods plus 6,500 to win the MVP? That's such a joke, because James Woods actually better than Pete Crow Armstrong. It's not even close. How does Juan Soto have better odds of the MVP than James Wood? Make it make sense. It's ridiculous. Mariners money line. 4th best bet of the video. Our next money line, I'm going with the Angels. Okay, so the Angels cashed for us on Saturday night. I, was in LA this weekend, was feeling the Southern California vibes, and I'll get to the Nats in a second. But took the Angels on Saturday night to beat the Houston Astros, and they took care of business and did it pretty well. I mean, Jose Soriano had double-digit strikeouts. We called for the regression of one Brandon Walter, and we got exactly that. Good victory for the Angels on Saturday. Yesterday on Sunday, the Angels were facing off against the Astros again, obviously. I'm trying to remember who pitched for Houston off the top of my head. But an 8-7 victory for Houston. Again, it was Gusto, right? The Angels played Houston really tough in that series. Obviously, right, Houston wins 2 of 3. But the Angels are low-key closer than you think in this division. Are they going to win it? No, because I think it'll probably still be the Mariners. Maybe. They've got room. They've got work to do, but I mean, that team, if they keep hitting the way that they are, I think they kind of have to win it. We'll see. But I think the Angels are closer than you think they are. But anyways, the best bet today is Angels money line. There's a couple reasons we're going with this. The first of which is the fact that Walker Buehler is pitching for the Boston Red Sox. And I know, again, Jack is pitching for the Angels, and I'll get to his atrocious numbers in a second. However, Walker Buehler has been one of the worst pitchers in Major League Baseball recently. And you can't really dispute that. 5.95 ERA on the season for Buehler. His ERA in the month of June is 11.6. Okay? Start on June 6th against... Oh, hell, you can look at his start on May the 31st as well. I mean, that doesn't include, obviously, the ERA in the month of June, but we can just say it right now, too. May 31st against the Atlanta Braves. 5 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs. Next start against the Yankees. 2 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. Yikes. Rays start, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. Mariners start, his last one, his worst one. 3 1/3, 8 hits, 8 runs. Oh boy. Walker Buehler is getting lit up out there. He simply put has not been good. Again, ERA is getting close to 6. If the Angels have their way tonight, that ERA will be at 6. Now, the reason why the Angels are underdogs is 100% because they're starting pitcher tonight, Jack Kokanovic. 5.3 ERA in the season. He's been very mid, don't get me wrong, but if we can just get a serviceable start out of him tonight, like he did in the Bronx last Wednesday against the Yankees, the Angels will win. At the Bronx, Kokanovic went 5 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs. They were both solo home runs. I will take that. 8 strikeouts, come on now. And I understand that was in the prime of the Yankees, their little streak of struggling at the plate. But if we can just get that type of line out of Jack today, we should be golden. His thing is he gives up home runs, and he gives up a lot of them. I mean, in his last 4 starts, he's given up a home run. 5 out of his last 6 starts, he's given up home runs, And 3 out of those 6, he's given up multiple home runs. He's only 24, but that is a little concerning. And, Boston's a good team. Don't get me wrong, right? They played that very competitive series against the San Francisco Giants. Obviously lost 2 of 3. They had the whole weird thing where, Duran was definitely safe at second base, but they called him out anyway. So Cora got ejected. Duran got ejected. Anyways, they played a very tight 3-game series over in San Francisco against the Giants, obviously against their former teammate in Rafael Devers. This lineup's good. Don't get me wrong. They've got guys. And I think they're going to score against Jack, but at the same time, guys, Walker Buehler is going to get lit up. It's just a constant thing that's happening right now in Walker Buehler starts. The Angels lineup, it's a lot better than you think it is. And this is why I think the Angels are a lot closer to contending or getting back to the top of the American League West than you think they are. Just because, their pitching's bad, don't get me wrong. Their bullpen is one of the worst in baseball. It's right up there with the Washington Nationals. I don't know who's worse. Their starting pitching still leaves some to be desired, don't get me wrong, like Kyle Hendricks starts, Tyler Anderson starts, but Jose Soriano's been really good this season. Yusei Kikuchi's been really good. Kokanovic, again, leaves some to be desired as well, but this lineup, man, Rengifo, Nolan Schanuel, hell, I have his bobblehead now, Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, again, Ward and Trout averages are down, Rengifo averages are down, but still, Schanuel has been really good. Zach Neto has been a monster for this team all season long, batting .270. He just doesn't get the recognition he deserves because Jacob Wilson just plays in the same division. Joe Adele, quietly, has been good this season. There are guys for this team. Christian Moore just needs to figure it out. The plate obviously just got called up a couple weeks ago. I don't think the Angels are bad, and I think they're going to win this game, and I think they're going to really benefit off the fact that one of the worst pitchers right now in baseball is pitching and starting for Boston. So we're going Angels money line here at home in Anaheim. They will beat the Boston Red Sox at +105. Our final best bet of the video is the over in the Washington Nationals game today at Petco Park against the San Diego Padres. The Nationals. I'll get into yesterday's game in a quick moment. First, Mitchell Parker's pitching for the Nats. I understand he looked really good in his last start against the Colorado Rockies. That's the Colorado Rockies. And sure, they went into DC and won 3 of 4. I don't expect Mitchell Parker to have the best night tonight. For as much as I want Mitchell Parker to be good today, they're facing the Padres, and I understand what San Diego brings to their lineup. Now, the Padres have been struggling, and that's why we're going to take advantage of this low over line. I think this should be 8.5 or 9. We're getting it at 8. I kind of know why. It's because the Padres just have not been hitting the ball well recently. And really, it's just, you look at this lineup with San Diego, and I've talked about this before. Like, Xander Bogaerts scammed this team. I understand he went on a crazy 6-game stretch. I think that's over now. But anyways, the top of the lineup is still one of the best in baseball, right? The top 5 guys in the lineup are ridiculous. Tatis, Merrill, Machado, Arias, Sheets. Once you get past those guys, and sure, again, there's only 4 after, the bottom 4 of the lineup is really difficult, really just to manage. Hell, it's really tough when you get basically an automatic out in the 9th spot every single night between Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz, right? There are automatic outs. Tyler Wade really doesn't do much, let's just be honest. Cronenworth is not the guy he used to be. But the top of the order alone makes me very confident that they're going to score quite a bit of runs tonight, especially against the guy Mitchell Parker, who, if you're going to see runs scored off of him or a lot of runs scored off of him, you're going to see in the first inning. He's a horrible first inning pitcher. Got through in his last start against the Colorado Rockies in the first inning, but that was the Rockies, and now he's facing San Diego with all this power, lefty, righty, obviously, for Tatis, for Machado. There's going to be some matchups there. Obviously, we're going to get lefty-lefty with Merrill, Arias, and Sheets, but this is a guy, Mitchell Parker, who's more than hittable. On the flip side, the Washington Nationals, they can score at times. I expect San Diego to score 6 today. So can the Nats give us 3? 100%. Stephen Kolek has been pretty good, 3.59 ERA. Went on his couple starts against the Giants and the Brewers where he was really good. Against the D-backs and the Dodgers struggled, but again, those are two of the best offenses in all of baseball. This is a guy who hasn't pitched at home actually since May the 27th because he was on the road in San Francisco, Milwaukee, Arizona, and Los Angeles. I think the Nats are going to be able to score at least 3 again off of him, just like I expect Mitchell Parker to get blown up. We know what the Nationals have in this lineup, obviously, right? CJ Abrams is a guy who's batting over 280. James Wood is the best hitter in baseball, and he's only 22 years of age. Luis Garcia is mashing the baseball. Nathaniel Lowe with 4 home runs in the last 3 days for the Washington Nationals. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, wow, the Nationals, Nathaniel Lowe's smashing the baseball. James Wood's hitting it well. Abrams ripping it. So the Nationals must have had some success in Los Angeles. Well, they only win 1. And guys, why did they lose yesterday? It's a lack of bullpen management. Guys, I'm so sick of the Washington Nationals bullpen and the fact that Mike Rizzo can't build a good bullpen. Guys, don't forget, they were going to let Finnegan walk. They had non-tendered Finnegan. They told him, go walk in free agency. They brought him back at the 11th hour. But guys, this is the worst bullpen in all of Major League Baseball. And I just don't understand the management yesterday. Okay, so Mike Soroka in the 6th inning walks the bases loaded, essentially. Okay, hits Freddie Freeman, bases loaded. Max Muncy's up, and he's a guy who's batting .093 against left-handed pitching this season. So the Nationals go to Jose Ferrer. Not a bad idea, you think, right? But no, Jose Ferrer has pitched in 4 out the last 5 days. Why is he pitching again? I mean, it's the problem when you only have 1 lefty in your bullpen. So anyways, Ferrer, predictably, gives up the grand slam to Max Muncy. And then, Nats don't score in the top of the 7th because, Jacob Young actually slaps the ball into right field and then proceeds to overslide the base with CJ Abrams at the plate. So they don't get anything in the top of the 7th. Bottom 7, we instantly just blow the baseball game. Why? Because Ryan Lotus is pitching. What? The double agent for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Ryan Lotus, with his 14 ERA now, doesn't record a single out, gives up 5 runs, eventually 6, because Cole Henry comes in after. Cole Henry, who's 10 times better than Ryan Lotus. Why is he going in second in a 1-run baseball game? Cole Henry's been really good this year. Why does Lotus get the high leverage spot over Henry? Make it make sense. We threw in the towel in the top of the 7th, but oh God, Lotus gave up 5 runs. Just get out there, Cole Henry. Why isn't he going first? Where's Brad Lord? Lord's ERA is 1 in his last 20 innings. I just don't understand. You had a great opportunity to go out and win a series in Los Angeles, or at least keep it competitive going into the last 2 innings, but no. You decide to throw Lotus. You throw Ferrer in the 6th. You give up 11 combined runs in the 6th and 7th innings, and you lose. You could have won 2 of 3 in Los Angeles. Now the Nats are 14 under, and I had to hear Davey Martinez, because they scored 4 runs off of Kike Hernandez, say, oh well, the boys battle again. It's a joke. It's a joke. And I feel for Davey. I really do, but my goodness, man. Now I gotta go to San Diego. And I hate the Padres, but I'm not gonna get into that. The over 8 today feels good. It really does. I expect James Wood playing his former team. And CJ. The last time the Nats were at Petco, they showed a lot of fight. They did get swept, but they showed a lot of fight, and they put up runs. Especially, again, Abrams cares when he's playing at San Diego. Wood never played for the Padres, obviously, at the Major League level, but CJ did. And CJ really gave a damn last year at Petco. And obviously, there was the whole thing with Jesse Winker and whatnot, and Keibert Ruiz. I think the Nats are going to show up. I don't know if they're going to win. Probably not Mitchell Parker's pitching, but I can expect them to score. And I do think the Pods are going to score off of Parker as well. So expect the over 8 today. Love the odds at -110. And folks, that'll do it for MLB Best Bets here on June 23rd. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure you leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank you all for watching. And Mamba